Hello everybody. As you might have heard, Diddy had a, 11th bail hearing on Friday. It lasted quite a long time and I did live stream the entire thing. Let's get into the top, I think it's 7, maybe 10, 7 to 10 things that happened at the hearing that you might have missed if you blinked. So first of all, this video I'm making right now, and also the entire live stream, and also everybody's live stream who even made a live stream on the issue, could not have happened without this modern day hero right here. Never spoke to him in my life other than, publicly retweeting, but he goes to every one of these hearings. He's inside the hearings. Matthew Russell Lee from Inner City Press. Y'all, please go support this man any way you can. He is not only following the Diddy case, this is his full-time thing. During the Diddy case, he was tweeting updates about a UN corruption case. So please make sure that you give him your support, financial and otherwise, because truly, without his tweets, none of this would be possible. So let's get into some of the things that I think were really important, that if you sat through the whole entire 3 hours, maybe you got it. Well, it was almost 4. It was almost 4 hours. Maybe you got it, but let's just do the quick wrap up here. What are the things you really need to know, according to me, in my opinion? So the first thing that the judge opened the hearing up with was a question about that legal pad. Y'all, Mark Agnifilo had represented, that's Diddy's lawyer, had represented to the judge that the government, the feds, did this raid in the jail and took away Diddy's private, confidential, legal communications, legal trial strategy, communications between lawyer and client, and you don't ever had to have been tried with any criminal charges to know that is a big deal. If you're talking to your lawyer, the other side is not supposed to be able to see that information. And part of the reason why Mark Agnifilo was telling the judge it was such a big deal, he was acting like he was going to try and get the judge to declare a mistrial over this issue. He was saying that Diddy had written the word legal across the top of these notes. And the judge, he did think that was very serious. So and this all happened before Friday, right? It's leading up to it. The judge thought it was very serious and said prosecutors have to completely destroy everything they have from that raid as far as those notes are concerned until we can get to a hearing on that. Well, just like moments after that hearing was over, the judge was like, the government's exhibit doesn't even say legal on the top of the notebook, so it kind of started looking like Mark Agnifilo lied to the judge. So the first question to anybody at all on Friday at the bail hearing, the Diddy's lawyers were like, Your Honor, Mr. Combs' family is here. They've traveled such a long way. And you have Janice Combs in there with her clown wig. And the judge is like, okay, that's fine. Thank you very much. What about that legal? He wasted no time. He wasted no time to get to that question. Mark Agnifilo, I don't think gave a satisfactory answer. He said, oh, well, the first time I saw these notes was, in the hearing or whatever. And that's just strictly speaking, that's not true. He had to have seen the government's exhibits, and he had to have seen that the government's exhibits don't say legal on them. So the judge kind of didn't really buy it either. And the judge said, okay, that's fine. Next time you make a representation to me, young man, make sure it's true. I'm paraphrasing. The transcript will come out soon. And I was just reading from Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press's tweets, but that was the first thing out the gate. They got to the bottom of this legal, not legal issue. And y'all, that it isn't done and decided yet, because they're going to be a hearing about it next month. December 2024. Speaking of people that may or may not have lied, you might have noticed I'm wearing my new merch here. This is the first sample anyone's ever gotten, and I think it's perfect just like this. On the back, we'll put a picture up. Under the hood, it says BJ Investigates, little secret, and this pretty much represents whoever the they is and whatever they lied about. I feel like it could really speak to anybody. More on that later, but this merch will be dropping Monday night. So y'all better make sure it's going to be a limited edition drop. And y'all know I'm not just bluffing either, because the last 2 times I told y'all it was limited edition, it went away. And can you buy it again? No. So the next thing I wanted to talk about that the judge brought up in the hearing had to do with Diddy's use of a laptop. Now, in this case, there's 11 terabytes worth of stuff. Terabytes are like a village worth of information or something. It's like a lot of information. Videos, pictures, documents, affidavits. I mean, Lord knows, right? And Diddy has been wanting to use a laptop inside of the jail in order to look at evidence and probably who knows what else, right? I mean, you know, he's already been doing all kinds of stuff he ain't supposed to be doing in that jail. So the judge did ask, what's the deal with the laptop? Can we get the man a laptop kind of thing? And the prosecutors are like, yeah, we can get him a laptop. Like, we already have him one that he can use in the center. There was some back and forth about a laptop. Now, a lot of y'all have said, nobody gets to have a laptop in the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center. So it's not fair that Diddy gets to have one. And I agree. I don't think one person should be able to have something if everybody else doesn't get to have it. That being said, I can absolutely understand how it is a little bit of a security issue to just let any and everybody within a jail have access to any and every internet. So there certainly is a balance of factors there, but that was the next issue the judge wanted to address. The third thing that I think was one of the most important things that happened, and I'm just going in the order that I remember these things happening, not really in order of importance, but we finally, I mean, what was Diddy arrested in? He was raided in March, indicted in September, okay? Right now we're in November. This has been going on the greater part of the year. We have heard rumblings about alleged co-conspirators. People have asked, this is a RICO case. That means it's an organization. It's an organized crime. You have to have more than one person for RICO. Who's the other people? When are we going to get these, quote, unindicted co-conspirators revealed? Stuff like that. Are we going to get a superseding indictment where they're going to have found that Diddy did more stuff, et cetera, et cetera? Well, we finally got the first mention, to my knowledge, maybe she had mentioned it before, but to my knowledge, it's the first mention of a co-conspirator. And that came whenever the judge in the case right now, I mean, this is the third judge on the case, I think second maybe, but the Judge Subramanian, he asked about the proposed bail conditions. Diddy wanted to do some, you know, remember he proposed bail first time, it got denied. Well, he's proposing it again, a second proposed bail package. And in this one, Diddy is saying he'll have private security instead of the police, private security that he hires and he pays to watch him and babysit him and make sure he follows all the rules. And the prosecutors are like, first of all, Your Honor, he ain't following the rules inside the jail. So what on earth makes you think he's gonna follow the rules inside his own house? That because the judge, I think, is being fair. He was like, all right, let's say I let you out on bail. Agnifilo, where's Diddy gonna stay? Agnifilo said, oh, well, I don't want to say the address. Everybody knows the address. I don't want to say the address, but it's on Star Island in Miami, and it has a dock, and there's a port, but there won't be a boat there. The judge said, that's not gonna work. Just flat out, that's not gonna work. And I don't know who's gonna be editing this video. If it's me, I'll put a little Google map right here, y'all. There's a dock coming off the front of the property, and there's a port across the waterway right there. Like, you could get in a boat, you could probably swim to that shipping yard, okay? So no, that's not gonna work. So then the judge was like, what about in New York? Because that's where the trial is being heard, and that's where the case is being charged. So Agnifilo's like, oh, give me a minute. Oh yeah, we can come up with we got a 3-bedroom, pretty much penthouse. I mean, I know people that lives in New York, y'all. 3 bedrooms in New York City is something. So, oh yeah, we have one of those extra just laying around that he could stay in or whatever. And so the judge is like a little bit more open to that. And then the judge is like, okay, so who would be making sure that he's following the rules? And Mark Agnifilo said, oh, it would be that private security company, Patriot Security. They recently merged with, I don't know, some other security company. It would be 2 security guards staying inside the apartment with him, and it would be 1 security guard would be standing outside, and there would be no visitors allowed except the lawyers and, you know, all this stuff or whatever. And so the judge is like, all right, I hear you. Goes to the feds. Feds, what would your argument be back to that? Maybe you can't trust Diddy, but he has a private security firm. And that's when we get this bombshell. The feds, the prosecutors, said, Your Honor, the last 2 times this man tried to propose private security, one of the people he tried to propose is an investigator working for him right now who's been in contact with witnesses, so that's not going to work. And another firm he tried to have be his private security in his first go-around of trying to do all of this was a co-conspirator. For me, the biggest revelation there is that there's security people that are co-conspirators, which doesn't surprise me because we've heard this Fahim Muhammad guy mentioned many times in the early, like the Cassie, the Lil Rod area of things. And this guy was on the scene the night Michael Jackson no longer became with us on this earth. So I'm wondering if it's Fahim Muhammad, who is the co-conspirator? But the government has mentioned a co-conspirator. It was the first time that I know of that it has done so. And it has something to do with a security company that Diddy proposed be his security the first go around. So, I mean, obviously, I think that's a strong argument on the government side. They're saying the obvious. How are you gonna make sure that the bodyguards that this man is hiring and paying are going to be actually holding him to the task? Because the issue is, it's just a company. That company can hire anyone. It's not like it's saying, oh, only these 10 people are gonna be the security guards. No, if Diddy don't like somebody or they're not letting him do something, he can fire them and get another one from that same company. It's just too much, and the man is paying them, okay? Nobody wants to defy Diddy, and I think that the people inside the house with him the whole time are gonna be the least likely to wanna do so, okay? So that was the government's argument, and I found it to be compelling. Now, another point that the government raised, another big issue that came out during this hearing, is that the government has been alleging that Diddy was trying to obstruct this trial. Not just he has a history of obstruction, not just he has a history of witness tampering, he's trying to obstruct this trial. And they've been redacting a lot of stuff, right? Those big black bars they put over the filings so we can't see what they say. But sometimes they'll speak in open court about some of these filings, and then it becomes kind of a little bit unredacted because they're giving us a peek behind the curtain. So in this particular case, there's a quote that came out about Diddy trying to tamper with the jury. Quote, "I want to reach the jurors," he apparently said on the phone or on a text communication with someone. Quote, "I need only one. I want to reach the jurors. I need only one." On top of the fact that Diddy has been openly accused of trying to manipulate public perception of him in his trial through planting that birthday video. And I made a video about that on this channel. But that birthday video that was the little girl was eating her icing off her fingers and all of that. Apparently, the government is arguing Diddy planted that. He told one of his kids to post it, or one of his family members to post it. And the family member said, whoever the family member, I think it was one of his kids, but she just said family member. So it could be like somebody's mama or something. Somebody told Diddy, the lawyers told us not to do that because it would violate the gag order that Diddy asked for. Diddy said, apparently according to the government, quote, "I don't care. It's my birthday." And then of course, as we know, that video did get posted. So I think the fact that Diddy is doing all of that in jail, allegedly, I wasn't there, I didn't hear the call, okay? But the government is saying that Diddy from jail is orchestrating things to be posted to manipulate the public and explicitly saying, I want to reach a juror. The judge did kind of think, well, he's allowed to want to rehabilitate his reputation, right? And the government's like, he's not allowed to obstruct this trial, and he is intending to obstruct. I just want to reach a juror, he said in jail, according to the government. Now, the next big issue that came up had to do with, again, obstruction. And the judge was like, so is obstruction your main point of what you're trying to actually prove in this case, like as far as to keep Diddy locked up? The government said no. The main issue we're having with this man is he's a danger to others. And then the judge said, so not flight risk? And the government said, oh, no, we relying on that too. Because it is true. I mean, he is a flight risk. He has all this money. He has a plane he owns. He has a house that's connected to a port and a dock. He knows all these rich people, even if he had $0. He has a lot of info on a lot of rich people, even if he had $0. So the judge just wanted to kind of get a sense. What's your main argument, government? Is it obstruction? They said, yeah, that's a big one. But it's obstruction. It's witness tampering, which is obstruction. It's the fact that he's dangerous, violent, and could harm people. And it's also the fact he could run away. So all of them, they're still coming with every single point. Now, a big issue that the judge had and that the government did have to overcome is this Abercrombie case. And the judge had warned them before, y'all need to be prepared to distinguish the Abercrombie case from Diddy's because he just walked right out of this courtroom, that Abercrombie guy, on $10 million. Well, they did distinguish the case from the Abercrombie case. The government said that the main difference, why it's super different, is because of the nature of the charges. Diddy is charged with RICO, with a RICO charge, which is the racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. It's a mafia. It's a mafia statute. Jeffries from Abercrombie is not charged with such. On top of that, Diddy is charged with leading the RICO conspiracy, and Jeffries isn't charged with any RICO at all. Now, should he be? Maybe. I mean, I don't know, but I do think that it is a difference. They also kind of make a little bit of issue about the age. They say, Jeffries is 80 years old and Diddy is 51, so there's 30-year age difference. Yeah, I mean, kind of, but that's not really their main point. Their main point is the nature of the charges and the time frame of the charges. Diddy, in the government indictment, is alleged to have been committing crimes as recently as this year, 2024. But Jeffries' crimes, allegedly, at least the ones they're charging him with, ended in 2015. So that was almost 10 years ago versus still ongoing to today with Diddy. So I think the judge probably did find that to be compelling. And another huge difference between the Diddy and the Jeffries case is that Diddy has some pew-pew charges and Jeffries does not. Now, could there have been some pew-pew involved over there? Sure. I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm just talking about what's been charged. Not only has Diddy been charged with having pew-pews, but remember, the numbers were sawed off. I think that in and of itself makes enough of a difference to keep him in. But y'all were saying, Jeffries should have stayed in too, and I can't disagree with you on that, but I wasn't there to make that decision. I can see how the cases are different though, and I could see how, even if they were the same age, the age doesn't make a difference to me. A rich, old, powerful person is a rich, old, powerful person regardless, especially considering they're saying Diddy actually mostly gets other people to do stuff for him. That's not the issue for me. It's the nature of the charges. I think that's a compelling argument. We're talking about pew-pews. We're talking about RICO. We're talking about leading RICO. We're talking about crimes alleged coming up until this year versus 10 years ago. It seems different enough to me. The final major issue that needed to be discussed at Friday's bail hearing had to do with the paramount evidence that the government has used publicly against Diddy so far, and that is the video of Cassie in the Intercontinental Hotel back in 2016, the CNN video. Now, anyone who watched that video could clearly tell that we weren't getting a chronological sequence of events, right? I guess it could be chronological, but anyone who watched that video could tell that there might have been some parts cut out. There might have been some parts sped up. It didn't seem like we really were getting the full context of the video. But that being said, do you really need any more context other than the fact that Diddy is kicking the woman in the elevator bank, not letting her leave? She's in there trying to leave. Here he comes running down the hall, barreling down the hall like a puma, a predator chasing prey, comes up behind Cassie. You know what happens next. And so that ends up coming up in the bail hearing. Mark Agnifilo had gone out there and hired an expert witness, an expert forensic video analyst to analyze the CNN footage. He put it together. He put all these angles. He made a 20-minute long video. And Mark Agnifilo was wanting to call this man up to do like up to 40 minutes of testimony as to how the CNN video had been altered, changed, etc., in order to mislead the judge, in order to lock Diddy up. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I kind of thought maybe the judge would entertain it a little bit. No. That man, the expert witness, wasted his time. He did not get called up. Now, probably that expert witness will be called at an actual trial, so probably wasn't completely wasted time and energy, but no, the judge did not call him up. Alexandra Shapiro was standing up there going, Your Honor, obviously he wasn't dragging her back to a freak-off. And the judge goes, there was dragging. And she's like, well, I don't mean to. This is Diddy's lawyer. Not Agnifilo, another lawyer. He has 4 of them, at least, that were at the hearing. No, well, Your Honor, I don't mean to. And he goes, there was kicking. There was dragging, there was beating, there was kicking. Like, it doesn't really matter if he threw the vase or the contents of the vase. It doesn't really matter if he dragged her to the freak-off or dragged her into the elevator or dragged her to the side of the elevator. It don't matter. He was dragging her, and I think that proves that he does have a propensity for violence. Like, that's it. So maybe this tape will continue to come up. It does seem that Mark Agnifilo is really trying to argue that the government was misleading the court and the public with this video. Mark Agnifilo has also said that it was the government who leaked this video. So, I mean, is that true? I don't know. I mean, it probably is. A lot of people has this video by now. I think Diddy thought nobody had the video because the government said he paid listen, Your Honor, this is what the government's argument was, and I think that the judge bought it. They said, Your Honor, regardless, we used the CNN video because it was already public. We didn't want to have to go through all of the rigmarole or whatever of getting all the, other grand jury evidence submitted in this trial and all of that. We had a public video from CNN that we could use. And regardless of what happened in the middle of the cutout scenes or not, the man paid, they used to be saying it was $50,000, but now they're saying it was $100,000 to bribe, is what the government said. They used the word bribe security for that footage. And the fact that he did that indicates he is committed to covering up his crimes. And this is alleged, according to the government, innocent until proven guilty. But those are the major things that did, 6, 7, 8 things that did happen in that bail hearing. Now, a little bit surprisingly, the judge did not make a decision yet. So the status quo would remain in place. Diddy remains in jail. Today is Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. And the judge has ordered both sides, Diddy and the feds, to submit what types of communications they actually think are allowed for Diddy, what types of things they think he's allowed to say and not say. And we are going to get a decision from this judge early this week. Now, this week coming up is Thanksgiving, so everyone is saying that the decision will be made before the holidays. And y'all, people are speculating Diddy might actually get out. If you're asking me my opinion, I don't think so. And I think it's going to come down to the fact that he had the pew-pews. He has the violent propensities that are on camera. He's apologized for the violence. And the fact that he hasn't really followed the rules in the jail, the fact that he asked for the gag order, and then 2 days after the judge orders the gag order, here's Diddy directing his family members to post something and it's his birthday and he don't care. I think the judge is going to take those things into consideration, and I don't think it's going to be necessary for him to compare Diddy's case with these other cases, because Diddy has now, in my opinion, uniquely situated himself from those people by continuing his actions in jail, which has not been alleged by, the Abercrombie guy. But again, the Abercrombie guy didn't stay in jail, I don't think, at all. I think he was arrested, bailed out. The next day he went for an indictment hearing, and then they just granted him bail. I don't think he spent any time in jail, but that's my prediction. I mean, I've been wrong before, and we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. But make sure you are subscribed and you have your notifications turned on, because I am covering this case. I mean, I think I put out 4 videos in one day the other day. So make sure you have your notifications on, and I will see you very soon. And this merch, it's going to be out on Monday night. Make sure you get it before it's all sold out. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, meet you, bye.
Welcome into my world. You're playing my game. Thought that you could come up and they're fitting off of my knee. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof. Inflame. Kids these days so shameless. Selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though. I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired. Wanna tell that? Say it to my face though. Now behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in a group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. As we go, how it all